idea behind a Rube Goldberg animation or machine is that it's a really complicated machine that doesn't really do anything, or it does something in a really complicated fashion. So it could be turning on a light in a really complicated fashion, etc. What we're going to start with, though, is just the machine itself rather than worry about what it actually does. And to do that, first I'm going to start with a cube. Now, you kind of want to think about what you want your machine to do. So it doesn't have to do exactly what mine does, but I'm just going to scale this inwards and scale it upwards, scale it inwards. You can see that red line running through there. That means I've locked it to that axis. So I've got a kind of a wall here. And then I'm just going to add some other cubes to this. Bring it up to about here. That's going to be my starting point. And I'll scale this along the X, sort of like that there. Okay, so that's my starting point. Now I'm going to go into edit mode for this part, because what I am going to do is do a ring cut there, and a ring cut there, and then start by doing another ring cut just there. And then with this edge, I'm going to bring it down. Now there's lots of ways you could do this. I'm just doing it one particular way here. Okay, and now I'm going to get those three faces and start extruding them this way. So extrude, extrude and bring it down, 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 etc. I'm just going to turn it so I'm that side view, extrude and bring it down. Let's see if I can make a sort of a ramp. Okay, that'll do. Now you'll see how this works a bit more in a second. I'm going to add a mesh, a UV sphere, right at the top here. I'm going to move it around so that it's sitting right on top of that. Okay, so now I've got my little ramp, I've got my wall, I've got a few things set up. To actually get the animation happening, and obviously the ball's going to roll down this hill here, I may have to pop it back on there. Okay, that looks good. It's going to hit there, roll down, and kind of do a little bit of a jump. So to get that happening, what I want to do is I need to play around with the physics tab over here. So this ball is going to be a rigid body. It's going to be active and dynamic. If it's active, it means it's part of the scene. It can have animations. It can interact with other objects. It can move or not move, but we want it moving. So that means it's going to be dynamic. The shape of it is going to be set to a sphere. That's all we really need to change. These objects, though, are going to be rigid bodies, and they are going to be passive. Okay, they're not going to be animated, they're not going to be moving, but other rigid bodies will still be able to interact with them. So they're kind of going to be the scenery. And that's it. If I hit play, that ball should go down and get stuck. That's my mistake, because what I need to do with this is change it to mesh. Now this one here can stay as convex hull. Anything that's not a cube, though, that's not, see, this is still a cube shape. It's just very thin cube, so it's more of a rectangular prism. Anything that's not a rectangular prism, like this here, is not a rectangular prism. It's not a triangle. It's not a sphere. It needs to be set to mesh for the shape. So now when I hit play, that should roll down there, roll down the hill, and at the end, do a little jump. All good. Now what I could do here is I could pause it at that frame and add in another object, maybe a torus. And if I look at where the ball's going, I'll scale it up. Okay, and I'll resize this. This is going to be a rigid body passive again with a mesh, because it's not a, I don't think there is a torus shape. Nope, So we want it to be a mesh. And I'll hit play. It'll roll down the hill. Hopefully it should go through there. And go straight through the hole. Okay, so then I can add a few more things. So I could add ramps going back here. What I'm going to do at the bottom, though, is add a plane. I'll bring that right down the bottom and scale this out so it's really big. Okay, I'll make that a rigid body. I'll make it passive. And I'll add mesh, some more cubes. So let's go down to here. And we'll bring this in there and scale it out along that x-axis like that. Oops, too far. Scale along the x-axis, bring it in a bit. And I'm just going to make this so that I'll go into edit mode. I'll extrude that upwards so it's like a wall. And I'll extrude this part downwards. Okay, this is going to come all the way down to the ground. And I'm just making this really, really simple. If you wanted to do things like jumps, you do need to have curves. For example, if I did this, I'll just demonstrate what will happen. Make that a passive rigid body. It's just going to hit this ground and kind of stop there. Oops, I haven't changed that to mesh. It's nothing to do with the cylinder. It's to do with the way the convex hull determines how collisions work. So I do need to change. Most things should be mesh. You can put everything as a mesh and it's not going to make any difference. So when it gets down to here, oops, the animation didn't go for long enough. To change the animation, because some of you will have difficulty with that, turn this up to 1500 and then go to here and change this rigid body cache up to 1500 as well. 1500 is going to be a minute long. Okay, and that's how long you want it to be by the time you're done with it. So it goes in there, it goes down, and you'll see when it gets to the bottom, it doesn't actually roll up. Oh, it does. Okay, well, that's all right, because that's what I want it to do. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think I can rewind it a little bit. No, you can't rewind physics animations. So anyway, down here, I'm going to add, by the way, that cursor, if you want to add something near there, you can just click on it. It'll go mesh, and it'll add the cube to that location. So I'll just grab that and move it a little bit and scale this along the z-axis, scale it along the x-axis. Oops, that's way too big. Scale it along the z-axis down and bring that down and sit it on top of my thing, and I'll make it a rigid body. Convex hull is fine for this. Hit play and make sure it doesn't fall anywhere. Okay, so with this, I'm just going to duplicate it. So I'm going to go into mode 3 and duplicate these. We'll just have a whole bunch of them. So they're going to act like dominoes. They could probably be thinner. Okay, so going into top view, which is number 7, I could duplicate a few of these and then rotate them. Duplicate and rotate like that. Now hopefully that rotation's all good. Alright, so I'll just hit play and test that out. So I've got the ball going down here, goes through the hoop, should go up and hit that bottom one down here. Maybe I need to have this one a bit closer. And I'll have to check where exactly that ball hits it, because if it's not hitting it in the top, it's not going to work. Yeah, it's just hitting it on that left there. So what I can do to fix that, let's just keep playing it. Nope. So what I can do to fix that is possibly just grab all of these. Probably the easiest way to do it. Let's move them more to that way. And then let's test that animation. Okay, so then I've got my domino effect happening here. And that works. And then I could go around and make the dominoes push another ball off an edge, and then have that go on another ramp, etc., etc. So there's lots of things you could do with this. Your animation needs to be about a minute long. Okay, so that's roughly around 1500 frames that it should do. This is part of your project. The second part to it will be to actually render it once we've got the animation done, and make a camera move and follow the ball at key points. So try and make this interesting. Don't just have a ball roll along different paths. Make it do some different things, jump through some hoops, knock some dominoes over. You could have other things happening in there. If you have a look at the next video, I'm going to show you how to animate stuff along with this, so you can have animated objects interacting with physics objects.